Good morning. I want to share with you a special story. The story is of an event that happened a number of years ago and includes Beth, my wife, late wife, and our son Mark, and Mark's friend Mike Goldblatt. Let me tell you the story. We were seated in Beth's hospital room and we were discussing driving home from Denver, Colorado, sometime in the next few days. The plans which we had made previously were not working out, and we were something of a dilemma. Since Beth could not share in the driving, I needed someone to help me make all the 611-mile trek to Enid, Oklahoma. Seated in the room, listening to our conversation, was Mike, one of our son Mark's good buddies. Suddenly, Mike spoke up and said, "I'll be more than glad to drive you. I have a few days off from my job because of the weather, and I'd like to drive you to Enid." Beth and I looked at each other and could hardly believe our ears. Mike is a professional fly fishing guide, lives in Evergreen, Colorado. The weather prediction was for snow on Wednesday evening and Thursday, so some of his clients had canceled their appointments for the weekend. I questioned Mike to be sure that he could take the time from his job, and he forcefully assured me that not only could he be away, but very much wanted to help his good friend Buddy, our son who lives in Conifer, and had been undergoing chemo treatment for Burkitt's lymphoma cancer. Plans were made for Mike to drive us on Thursday. However, as we began to think about the forecasted storm, Mike thought we really ought to leave on Wednesday. Schedules were worked out. We left for Enid around 9:30 on Wednesday morning. The trip took about 10 hours, with Beth bundled up in the back seat, just released from the hospital on Tuesday after 8 days of treatment for atypical pneumonia. Such wonderful care at St. Anthony's Hospital in Lakewood, Colorado. We arrived in Enid around 8 o'clock with Mike driving all the way and doing an absolutely masterful job of herding our van through Denver traffic and all the interstate highways between Denver and Enid, a distance of over 600 miles. We arrived in Enid safe and sound, and our daughter and son-in-law had dinner prepared. Seated at the marvelous dinner which they had prepared, Mike were going over our trip, and I was raving about his exceptional driving ability. Then I said to Mike, "Mike, I'd like to pay you for driving us today. We could not have made the trip without you." I shall never forget, as long as I live, Mike's respectful response to my offer. Looking me straight in the eye, Mike said to me, "Bill, you cannot pay someone for a gift." I thought. I was silent. I kept thinking, you can't pay someone for a gift. I began to do some theological tangents off of that. The discussion which followed had far-reaching theological overtones. We talked about giving gifts and how often people are made to feel that they need to repay, to pay back the person who has given the gift. I thought about how many preachers and teachers use the payback concept in relation to Jesus and to the gift of his life. I thought about and questioned whether I myself had done that in the past in my preaching and teaching. I thought about some of the hymns that we sing that have phrases catching a different kind of theology. There's one that is entitled, "Jesus Paid It All," And the words included in the hymn are, Jesus paid it all to him I owe. And then I recalled Jesus' words when he started what we call the Lord's Supper. This is my body which is given. My mind pushed it a little bit further. I went back to John 3:16. For God so loved the world that he gave. And I began to question how I had been interpreting God's gift, and quite probably have told people in uncertain terms that we owed God. This was an unusual awareness for me and has affected my thinking, my preaching, my teaching, my giving. I invite you to consider for your own life, for your thinking, for your theology. Beloved, you cannot pay for a gift. You cannot pay someone for a gift. May God bless you in new ways as you think about giving and your giving of gifts.